Okay, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Fantasy Recall. I'm your host today, reez. You can find me on Twitter at reez28. That's with three E's. I'm here joined today with my good buddies Nick and Cody. I met them through Dynasty. I met them on the Sleeper app. We got a few leagues together, and we've talked, and we just kind of hit it off. And I couldn't be more excited to start a podcast with these guys. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves to everybody?
Hey, my name is Nick Romero, aka Goku's Pre-Workout. You can find me at Goku's Pre-Workout on TikTok, Twitter, basically all social medias. Um, yeah, same like Reed. I met these guys on Dynasty Sleeper app through some leagues. These guys are sharper than most of your league mates, and they're super fun to talk to on and off the fantasy field. So yeah, that's for me.
And I'm Cody. I, as of right now, do not have a Twitter and will be getting one today. So next episode, I will have a Twitter for all my followers. But let's just get into it. So Reese, with your first question.
Yes. So I wanted to talk today about the quarterback carousel going on. It's the NFL offseason. It's the most fun time of the year for the league and dynasty football. This is, of course, where all your moves get made. And this is, to me, in my opinion, this is where you win your leagues. So, Nick, what quarterback are you most interested in this offseason?
I would say Russell Wilson. I think he's probably going to be the least exciting when it comes down to it. I think a lot of people just think he's going to stay in Seattle, which he honestly probably will. But I would love to see Russell Wilson go literally anywhere else. I feel like his
Is
talent's
that is
basically
that a,
wasted there.
is that an Arizona bias right there?
It might be, but I just like Russell Wilson. Even though I'm a Cardinals fan, I've always thought that he deserved better. If he like moved to another team, even in the division, even though that would never happen, that'd be fine with me. But um, yeah, I don't know. I think other teams might lean into the skills and assets he has a little bit more. So he's one of the big quarterbacks I'd like to see something happen with this year.
What about you, Cody?
Yeah, Russell. I think he's staying for sure. I think he'll be fine. I think he'll be a quarterback one as long as he stays healthy. But he's not necessarily. I have a few people on my list where I'm looking to see where they land. A few people, Jimmy G, I think is going to get traded. Obviously, I don't know where he's going to go, but I think Denver or Tampa would be a good landing spot for him. I think Mariota will also be on the move. I think he could find a landing spot. I think he could get a second shot. I mean, we're talking about number two pick who had some up and downs in Tennessee and has been the backup for 2 years now for Derek Carr, and I think somebody's going to give him a second chance. If Andy Dalton's getting a third and fourth chance, like how is Mariota not getting a second chance? And
Hey, you
I
got to love the Red Rocket.
right, exactly, and but my Steelers actually, I read an article yesterday about linking them to Mariota as a
Really?
bridge quarterback for them, and because there's a lot of hype around them taking Malik Willis as well. So I think that would be I think Malik, that I think that's a good direction for them if they can get him or trade up. I think they would have to trade up for him after I think they're drafting 20th or 19th, and Willis is like around the 14th or 15th. So maybe yeah, I think they would have to trade up to get him. But yeah, Mariota, Winston's another big name for me too. Like he's like injured. He came out. He's on the ACL injury, so I think he is somebody that people aren't really talking about, but also like, is he going to stay in New Orleans? I've also heard him linked back to Tampa because knows that system. He played there with
Mhm.
Bruce's last year. He's got a big arm. I mean, he's obviously no Brady, but if you can kind of, last year you saw what the Saints could do if they really, I don't want to say controlled Winston, but they really limited his opportunities to make mistakes, right? And he was able to capitalize on that and was leading a successful team, and his stats were good up until what, week 8 or 9, when Winston
Yeah.
got hurt. They were like what, 6-2 or like 5-2 or something like that, and he tore his ACL, and then we know the rest of the story from there.
I'll tell you what, man. For me, I'm a big believer in Jameis Winston. I think what he showed last year before his injury was great. Um, Obviously, this all hinges on Dennis Allen, the new coach, and what he thinks about Winston. If he doesn't like Winston, obviously they let him go. I would like to see Winston go to a Pittsburgh or go to a Tampa Bay where they have offensive weapons and they just allow him to do his thing. I think Sean Payton did a great job with him limiting turnovers and getting him to where he needs to be an efficient starting NFL quarterback.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
definitely the one of the top three most intriguing quarterback prospects for me in this offseason.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I'm looking at a few more names here, and other than that, I mean, another name I'm gonna say, and I might get, you guys might hate me for this one, but Mitch Trubisky. And I really think he's gonna get I think he really can get a second opportunity. I mean, like I know a lot of people have mixed feelings about Mitch Trubisky, but I think he did not have the best opportunity in Chicago. He actually had a good year and a half there, about his second year and into his third year, and then I don't know what happened, whether like the confidence was out there or like I mean Nagy. I mean we all know the story of
Nagy
Nagy.
doing Nagy things.
Right, exactly. So I don't know what's there. I just think like Buffalo was really, I mean they felt pretty good with Mitch as the backup. I mean I could see him getting actually a decent paycheck to stay a backup. So, but I could see him getting a second opportunity. When I'm looking at this list here and looking at there's no other name that I would rather on this list that I would rather have as my quarterback other than the people we've already named than
And Aaron Rodgers, but I think that kind of goes without saying.
right. Well, he's not a free. Well, technically, he's not a free agent.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So, but he is on the move. We haven't talked about him, but I mean, well, he's not on the move, but he could be on the move. I think he's staying though too. I just don't see where he goes to the AFC and he's better. I think you've made this point. We've had this discussion before. I just don't see him going to the AFC and having a better scenario. I mean, Brady's gone, so the NFC just got that much easier, right? I mean, that's how I look at it. I mean,
Yeah.
you really got the Rams and
Go Rams.
Green Bay, and I mean that's really like that's really it. I mean, and there's kind of a drop off when you get to. I mean, I guess the Niners, but if they move Jimmy G, we don't know about Trey Lance. So like that's why I think if Tom's gone in Tampa, then it's really.
Do you think
Green Bay?
Rodgers? You think Rodgers might look at? You think Rodgers might look at the fact that competition changes in his division in the NFC, and uses that to decide if he might stay with Green Bay?
I mean, I mean, Detroit isn't making any moves this year. Chicago, I still think is a year or two. I mean, unless Fields takes a major leap, which I don't see him taking that big of a leap into a second year. I could see that being more his third year. But
Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they are. They are. Minnesota's dangerous. They're committing to Kirk. I mean, he's got a big arm. I mean, if they can get a good offensive mind in that offense, I forget. I can't even think of who their offensive coordinator.
Talking O'Connell.
No, well, he's the new head coach, right?
Yeah.
But who was the offensive coordinator under Zimmer?
Oh.
I don't know off the top of my head. But they were all let go, and I don't know. Zimmer was always a defensive minded coach. He was. I mean, the offense has had its up and downs, but Kirk has been really good for them. So yeah, I could see Minnesota take if Rodgers leaves. I mean, that division is all theirs to take. I think.
I think Rodgers is leaving. I don't see him sticking around. But yeah, we can move to another topic.
I think it depends on how the Packers draft. You know, obviously they're going to try to re-sign DeVonta Adams, but DeVonta Adams is going to command, high 20s, $30 million. And
yeah, he wants paid too. He said he doesn't really even that's all he cares about is he wants paid. I mean, I shouldn't say that's all he cares about, but he wants paid. I mean, and he deserves to be paid.
I mean, has there been a better receiver the last 3-4 years?
Yeah, no.
arguably DeAndre Hopkins, but I think that ship is sailing.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
completely gone, but it's sailing.
They've
And
they've set sail. We've set sail.
See, Nick's getting a little upset.
Nah.
Of course, Nick over here in his Arizona gear, you can only imagine.
so, yeah, where do you want to go next with this?
Um, what are you guys willing to pay for Alvin Kamara right now? Obviously, we don't know what's going on with him. His value has had a significant drop. Um, I myself just bought him in one of our leagues. I bought him for Rojo, Rashad Penny, and a second, a mid late second, 208, which is
Man.
obviously an extremely low price. What are you guys thinking about that?
Wait, you paid Rashad Penny in a second for Kamara?
And the 208,
Steal.
Wait, you gave the 208 with
yeah,
that for Kamara, just Kamara.
just for Kamara, straight up.
Yeah, I think that's a steal.
This is a one QB league, by the way.
I know Nick has some high hopes for Penny. I think so. He might not think that's a steal, but look, we've seen people in the NFL do worse than what Kamara has done, and
Hmm.
and come back and play for. So I don't think Kamara is just done. I mean, I see him like at a 6-game suspension. So if your team can like handle that, and then plus whatever, I mean, Kamara's that I think he's the top 5, top 7 fantasy running back next year. Yeah, top 7 I would go with, and
Well,
I think that's yeah. I mean, it's when he plays. I shouldn't say he's going to finish as an
right.
RB1, but like once he comes back, I think he's. I mean, the team I don't think is as good as they were the past 2 years, so I think that could like affect Kamara's fantasy output. But I still think he's like an RB1 per game when he plays.
You have to with his pass catching abilities.
Yeah. Just like the yeah.
Even when they're behind, they don't have the receivers to throw the long ball, and the checkdowns are going to be there. And Kamara's going to do what Kamara does whenever he comes back, whenever the league lets him back. And I'm not expecting him right now. He's a flex player for me, so it was an easy smash accept for me. Um, but
Is Alvin Kamara already 26? How old is he? I think he's 26, right?
yeah, he's
Yeah,
20.
he'll be 20. I think he'll be 27 at the start of the season too.
Hmm.
So for Kamara, it's kind of hard for me. I love Alvin Kamara. He's obviously so. The questions I have with Alvin Kamara are: is he still with the Saints in 2023? It looks like he has technically a cuttable contract. And if he's going to go to another team after 2022, I don't know how much I love him or a purchase of him. But if he gets a contract restructure, or if I felt safer that he's staying in New Orleans and we have him this year and next year, I think, like Kody said, he's probably gonna. There's a good chance that he misses some games this year, probably not more than 6. And I still think once he plays, they don't have anything else on that team, so he would be featured like he always is and would be an immediate start type of player. So um, I would try to acquire him, but I just don't know how much I can pay if I'm only getting, you know, the end of this, or I guess most of the season this year, and then who knows what after that.
Yeah, I think if you're trying to buy Kamara, you're definitely not willing to pay the RB1 market value. Not at this point. Uh, like you mentioned, he's a 26-year-old running back. He's got 1 year left on his contract, and who knows where he's going to end up next.
Yeah, I'm looking at his stats right here too, and I just see like, and over the years, like he never had like more than 200 rushing attempts in a year,
Mm-hmm.
and he's always had more than 80 catches in a year. And then this following past year, they're kind of without Drew. Like I know he did miss one. He missed 3 games. So,
Yeah,
but he's still in he yeah. So he played the least amount of games in all seasons, and he had 50 to 60 more carries than he had in any other season. So which means his volume is getting used more. Where his yards, if you look at his yards per carry, they were not good this year at all. They were like below the league. I think the league average is like 4, but it's his yards per carry were 3.7 when he's never averaged under less than 4.5. I still think volume based alone, he'll be a RB1, RB2. But like, what if Winston? Let me ask you this: what if Winston goes to Tampa because they don't resign him, and they might? I don't know, but I know other teams are eyeing Winston, so it's like someone's gonna pay him, and the Saints. I mean, the Saints don't have the money like some other teams, but
Can't say hell
he'll
over there.
right that too. But yeah, I mean, like if he's next to Taysom Hill again, like I don't
Yeah,
think
no.
I
That's
don't think he's RB1. I mean, maybe he still is an RB1 just based on volume, but he
Like,
finished
I'm with you
what?
on that.
if
Yeah,
you
and like the 47 catches, that's pretty. I mean, I know he played one less game than like he played 16, 15, 14, 15 and 13. So like yeah, he played one less game than like his average like 15, 14, but like I mean, from 83 to 47 catches, that's a huge drop, especially every year of having 80 plus catches. I mean, I think Kamara is a great player, and I just think the Saints are going in the opposite direction of Kamara. I think they're going into a rebuild maybe and changing some things up. I mean, maybe not, but their offense. I don't know what they're doing on offense. So yeah, that's just my take. I
so
think
just
Kamara's going. Sorry.
well, just some quick fire questions for you two. Would you rather have Alvin Kamara this year or Aaron Jones?
Give me Aaron Jones.
Yeah, I think he's playing. I mean, he's playing for sure. I know he shares with Dylan, and Dylan's going to be playing more. But if like Rogers is, I mean, if yeah, probably give me Aaron Jones just because he's playing all 16 games and they're pretty bad. I know Kamara's better, but he's not that much better to like justify. I shouldn't say 6 games because the suspension's not in, but he's playing the full season, and
Mm-hmm.
that's as of right now. That's
What about Alvin Kamara or sorry, I just had my guy pulled up here. Um, like Tony Pollard.
Oof. Give me Kamara. Pollard's great, but Zeke was hurt last year, and when Zeke is healthy, he's still productive. Yes, he has a lot of tread on the tires, but I think he'll have one more year left in him.
Kody?
yeah. I don't
Like
know.
which side do you take between Kamara and
I
Tony
mean, I
Pollard?
just for next season.
For this year we're coming into this is dynasty centric, so generally value
I mean,
dynasty
moving
more just
right. Well,
because.
moving forward, I would rather have Pollard. I mean, and I think Reese would too. And I think that's why I was clearing it up because I mean next Kamara's great, but he's gonna miss some time. I mean like that. What happened in Vegas isn't just gonna go away, and you know just didn't.
If we look at best case scenario, let's say somehow his lawyers are good, he doesn't miss any games, and he plays week one. Are we all still valuing Alvin Kamara as an RB1? Like we would
I
have
think
to
you
at
have
that
to.
point, right?
I think you have to.
Volume alone, I think you still have to consider him an RB1 until he shows otherwise, right? I mean, he was an RB1 last year and he got massive rushing volume with bad numbers and he had mediocre passing numbers and he was still an RB1. So I
Yeah,
just think per game he's going to be an RB1.
because who's behind Kamara? Ingram. I think he's gone after the this
Tony
offseason.
Jones.
Tony
Tony
Jones, man.
Jones. Tony Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he
Yeah,
would
no,
be so all
no
these
thank you.
everything we're talking about right now is through the lens of we all basically think he's going to miss time. And that's why we're comparing him to like the Tony Pollards, the Aaron Jones, guys that otherwise are clearly not as valuable as him if he doesn't miss any time, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So Tony Pollard, I believe his contract is up. He's got one more year, so I think he's up next offseason. And I don't know what the Cowboys are going to do. I think they're moving to a more pass centric offense, and they've already paid Zeke.
What do you guys
So
think of career backups when they get to like age 25? Like Tony Pollard who we're talking about right now. Do these guys typically like the ship just sails on them like you're either a starter your whole career or you're a backup your whole career or do these guys typically like have juice like Tony Pollard becomes a free agent, gets a job, and is like a monster from age 25 to 26 to 27?
Um, that's a little tough. I mean, it all depends on free agency and what opportunities are available. Sometimes you just kind of take a L, and you don't have the right opportunities available to you, or you don't fit a certain offensive scheme. So I think for Tony Pollard, he could be somebody's starting running back, maybe not as effective, but I think he's kind of at his peak right now.
So you don't think when I mean so Zeke's under contract, but he becomes voidable next year, which means that they can like cut him and save and save a bunch of money and not have to spend any money to cut him. So I believe that this is Zeke's last year in Dallas. Um, and then Pollard, what? He's 24. When's he turn 25? Will he be 25 at the beginning of the season, or will he still be 24? I don't know. But
Wait,
so I mean, we're looking at Tony Pollard at 25/26 next year with a backfield of his own. I think if you're gonna buy, I think if you're gonna buy Tony Pollard, like this is like you either do it before the season starts, and then if you then I mean like then I think he becomes too expensive at that point because I think he's still gonna share with Zeke, right? I mean, he's averaging almost 5.5 yards a carry. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he looks really good, right? Like
Yeah, Pollard's
explosive,
right now.
and Zeke looks great too. But I just think the money at that point, I think they'll wash their hands with it and keep Pollard on a cheap contract, or they might let them both go and just draft another running back because running backs are so expendable nowadays. No one wants to pay them. So like
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
so disappointing.
right? Yeah, I mean, but I mean, there's and it is kind of disappointing because the top ones are like a dime a dozen. Usually, when they stay healthy, it's like they really can change a game. Like when Barkley is at 100% and explosive, he is so dominant and dynamic. Yeah, it's sad when they're not playing. So but yeah, the whole underpay running back thing, it's not cool. But anyways, yeah, that's how I feel about Pollard. I
okay.
would I would like Pollard. I like Pollard. I would buy. I mean, like if you're gonna buy him, this is the year to buy him because I think he becomes like a RB1, RB2 next year or for 2023.
So, do you think with so Zeke's contract is expiring? If he has a great year, if he has a bounce back year this year, do you think they try to re-sign him or restructure his deal and keep him on board, or they're just washing their hands? Or do you think
I,
they're
ju- I just think they're washing their hands with it. I mean, I don't think I just don't. I mean, at that point he'll be 27 or 28. I just don't see them putting any money into him. I mean that's just me personally. I don't know, but
right?
I mean I wouldn't. I mean in the way the NFL is. I mean would you?
I
No,
don't.
probably
I don't
Right.
think. I don't think Zeke's going anywhere in 2023 though. I'm looking at it right now. So he's. So
It's
that
voidable. It's not up, but it's like they save.
they don't save that much. So he would. The dead cap hit is 11.8 million. If he stays and plays, they owe him $16 million. So they would only save $4 million by cutting Zeke. So they would have to trade him, which I don't think anyone's going to buy a 28-year-old
No, no,
Ezekiel
no, no, no,
Elliott.
no. Here you go. Here you go. This is what it is. Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys have no choice but to keep their $18 million running back, right? His contract is basically guaranteed him a roster spot in 2022 this year. So his cap hit this year is 18.2.
mm.
Into the Elliott's contract assigned him a reasonable cap hit in 22. It's 18.2. I'm keep reading.
Yeah,
Oh
because
yeah,
it
so they can't for 22 they would lose money if they did anything.
right, but they would only
Yeah,
save 4 million to cut him in 2023. So what better running back are you going to get than your franchise guy you've had your whole for like the last.
No, so right. Well, what I'm saying is like so so yeah, they'll save 5 million, but it will still open up all of that 16 million. So they're saving money by cutting him, not spending money. So they're getting extra money back. Like if they cut him this year, they would lose money. But if they cut him next year, they'll save money.
But they're only going to
Right.
save like $4 million. What better guy are
Right,
you going to
but
get than Zeke for $4 million? Why would they do that?
I think
no,
they'll get a running back.
they get the whole contract, but they save. I mean, you're presenting it like saving the money is a bad thing, but here they're presenting it like they're already over the cap. They need to save as much. That's why they're talking about cutting Cooper too. Like they have to save this money. You know what I mean? So so when Elliott's 28 years old and Pollard is out producing him, and you can bring in Pollard, and actually Elliott being on the field is hurting Pollard. It's like, saving $5 million at the same cost of like making your team better. Like, why wouldn't you do that?
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I think after the 23 season, they will end up cutting Zeke, drafting a running back in the third round to complement a Pollard, and save on the cap space. Because with Dak's massive contract, which he's overpaid if you ask me, but it's hard to get a starting quarterback. Anyway, that's a different topic. Yeah, it just makes sense to get a complimentary running back to Pollard, and keep him on a 1-year rental or something around those lines.
All right, so here's the article I'm reading. It says, "Book this. Zeke will not be playing for this team under this existing contract in 2023 season. He will almost certainly be cut and/or offered a new pay cut deal. So they might keep him on a cheaper deal. So you're right.
Yeah,
You're
if
right.
they
You're right about
restructure his
that.
contract, I wouldn't be surprised either,
Right.
especially if he has a good year.
Speaking of Dallas, yeah. So I don't know. I don't think we don't have to stay on Zeke. I just don't see him being in there in 2023, especially if they're saving money by getting rid of him. I mean, it's a win-win, right? So I know, and so yeah. So I don't know.
So is Zeke a buy low, or is he sell immediately? Sell as soon as you can. Fire sale this guy.
I don't think he's either. I mean, I think next year you're gonna get what was he? What did he finish this past year? Like
I
RB
believe
was he an
five,
RB1?
5'6", somewhere around there. He finished up there.
Oh yeah, he finished like 7th in PPR. I mean, you can't ask. I mean, yeah, that's great. I mean, his numbers were. Yeah, his numbers have been always what they have been. I mean, Zeke's always been a pretty consistent RB1, right? So, I mean, I think he can still be that until proven otherwise. But I would guess that if I were putting money on it, I would say 2022 would be his last year of RB1 status.
Or close to it, yeah. And I think you can
Yeah.
get him for much cheaper than these other RB1s.
I think you
Yeah,
can go
agreed.
a late first right now, just because of the everybody is off of Zeke right now, and everybody is trying to sell.
And everybody's on the draft so bad right now because it's draft season. I mean, everybody wants this draft to be. Everyone wants to draft Jamar Chase. Everyone wants to draft Justin Jefferson. Everyone wants to draft the Waddle. Everyone because like the most recent draft, like last year, had such a high hit probability compared to earlier, like a lot of other drafts, that so many people are thinking this draft is gonna duplicate that draft.
Okay, so at the end of the day, Dynasty Zeke owners should be, you said, neither buy nor hold, right? Kody,
Yeah, just hold them. I mean, like I think if someone comes, like if someone offers you a reasonable offer that you like, take it. I mean, I don't think he's like hold them, don't sell them or don't.
If
buy
someone
them.
came to you and
It's
said, like, I'll give you Kamara and a third for Zeke, would you do that?
I'd do it.
yeah, I would do it.
Oh, you would? I might keep Zeke. I think I'd keep Zeke for
the 6 games or however.
for his guaranteed top RB2.
But what if Kamara
2022
doesn't
season,
get in
right?
any trouble, and then you lose the trade?
Well,
what I mean?
we're looking at it at the lens of he's gonna miss time but
Right.
you're right. If Kamara doesn't miss any time, then that was a good deal for you. But
they're also the same. You're right, and they're also the same age. So it's like, I mean, Zeke obviously has so much more wear and tear than Kamara, just by the type of play that Zeke has been between the tackles his entire career. He's been in the league like a year longer, maybe 2, and Kamara has been a big pass catcher. Kamara's been smart to like not absorb a lot of big hits and take a beating.
Yeah, that's just his play style, and
Right.
it's conducive. Big words here. Conducive to long-term success, you know. And I think even if he does leave New Orleans, I think he'll still be a great third down back, or a great complementary back out the backfield.
Kamara.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
I
he'll
could.
get another
Yeah,
opportunity somewhere
I
else where he can still produce as a flex running back.
yeah, I could see Kamara playing into his 30s easily.
Yeah,
Like being fantasy relevant, not like Le'Veon out there at 28, 29, not being able to even stay on the field for Baltimore, right? I mean,
yeah,
so yeah, I could see Kamara being very relevant up into his 30s. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's rare, but it's not uncommon to see one or two great running backs like They're long, like AP or Frank Gore. Like, there's always like one or two running backs from like the generation or like the decade that like kind of like outlived like the running back apex, right?
right.
So like you always kind of see like Frank Gore and AP would kind of have been. They did it. I mean, like, it's crazy that they were even able to be on the field in the last 2 years. You know what I mean? Let alone the last like 5.
Frank
So
Gore was holding the football in crutches.
yeah, I mean, like, you got Frank Gore, like, I mean, not to talk about him, but like at 38 years old this year, but like in 18 he was, 35, and he was still
Yeah,
45th running back, and then at 34 he was 19th. Yo, when he was not to stay on too off topic, but when he was from Frank Gore from 30 to like 34, he was a RB. He was a borderline RB1. He was 19th, 11th, 14th, and 21st. I mean, that's pretty crazy.
yeah. I mean, in this day and age, it's pretty unheard of. So next, there's one player specifically, and it's really intriguing to me. I don't really know what to think of the guy, and that is sorry guys, that is DeVonta Smith, wide receiver. What are your thoughts on the guy?
Nick, you want to go first?
Sure. I love me some DeVonta Smith. I like his talent. I think he's gonna in full PPR leagues. I should clarify, because in half PPR I don't think he's quite as delectable. But in full PPR leagues, I like DeVonta Smith everywhere. I think he's going to continue to mesh, and they're going to continue to pass to him in that offense. I think even if they get a receiver, either in the draft or trading in free agency here, I still think DeVonta Smith is like the kind of like a T. Higgins in that offense. But I think it's really hard to find your Jamar Chase to go next to him. So I really like DeVonta Smith. He's super young, super talented, gets targets regardless. He's really good. I like him.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I own a lot of actually Devonta. I probably own the most Devonta Smith shares here.
Unfortunately, because it's hard to
right?
take him from you.
But no, I know, right? But I mean, I probably do, and I like him, and I mean, like, yeah, who was it that said like Treylon Burks in Philly could be worse? Was that you, Nick, that told me that? It was like Treylon Burks like in Philly could be worse than
Treylon Burks in Cleveland. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. I'm not.
You think Jalen Hurts can support two alphas or two fantasy relevant receivers?
I mean, then you got
and
Goddard there too. Yeah,
they love their tight ends.
And Sanders and Gainwell. I mean, like, they don't throw to Sanders, but they do throw to Gainwell, and so but Hurts is mobile, so they don't really throw to the running backs a crazy amount.
Do you think DeVonta Smith is like a wide receiver 2 to you? Is that how you value him, or do you value him as like an ascending wide receiver 1? Like he will be a wide receiver 1 soon.
I don't think he's. I think he has the ability to be a wide receiver 1. I think he's. I mean, he's one of the best route runners to like ever come out of college. They said so. I think the talent's all there. I think Jalen obviously does limit him. Like if he was playing with like I mean, he's not out there Josh Allen's not out there throwing the ball to him or Patrick Mahomes, but I think Jalen and him. I mean, they played together a year at Alabama. I want to say before Jalen transferred to Oklahoma. So yeah, I don't know. I think he's a wide receiver 2 this year. Maybe, yeah, I think he's a wide receiver 2. I don't want to hype him up too much. Then that's not what he is. But I mean, what did he finish last year? Like 25th, or like I think he finished like right in the around the 30 range, and so
Here's some quick player comps, or not comps, but just like which receiver would you rather have? DeVonta Smith or Darnell Mooney?
Smith
Smith.
all day, all day.
Okay, DeVonta Smith or Jerry Jeudy?
Smith.
Right now?
But just because,
Yeah, right now.
Yeah, right.
Right now, it's got to be Smith.
Okay, DeVonta
But
Smith.
As soon as Denver makes a play for a quarterback, I'm taking Jeudy.
Okay, DeVonta Smith or T. Higgins?
Oh, Higgins.
Yeah, you gotta take Higgins.
Okay, DeVonta Smith.
But go on. Sorry, just go on.
DeVonta Smith or Rashad Bateman?
Smith.
Okay, DeVonta Smith or Hollywood Brown?
Smith.
It's a little harder for me actually. I'm pretty big on Hollywood. Yeah, Smith.
Okay, last one. DeVonta Smith or Brandon Ayuk?
Smith.
Yeah, Smith again.
Okay.
Brandon Ayuk is a guy.
And I drafted Smith over all of those guys, and I'd do it again. And I mean, DeVonta Smith in a rookie year playing with a bad quarterback play, we all say, right? Because like Jalen wasn't great with the arm. He was hit or miss with his arm, and he ran. I mean, like what? He had 10 rushing touchdowns, like 500 rushing yards. He was a high rushing amount. You look at DeVonta Smith here. 64 catches, 916 yards, 5 touchdowns, and that's a rookie year, and that's solid volume for a rookie on a terrible quoting a terrible passing offense, right? That's like worse than Cleveland. Like if Treylon Burks went there, like if Treylon Burks posted that rookie number, like would that be terrible? Like I mean, he finished 29th, so like I mean, like I don't know,
I think you're hoping for more than 1,000-yard season from Treylon Burks for how much hype he's getting, and people are already saying he's the 101 guy you should be taking before the draft has even happened. You would want more than that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, you have to temper your expectations because you have to realize we've been spoiled. Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase and DK Metcalf. We've been spoiled, and that's just not what you should be expecting.
Yeah, I'm not, and I'm not saying it to say that I think that DeVonta Smith, because he had like a 900-yard season and not 1,000, is like a letdown. But I think he had a lot lower expectations because of where he was going on his offense, because who his quarterback is. We didn't expect much, so his 900-yard season to me is more impressive, because we weren't expecting Jamar Chase performance, what we were expecting from like a T Higgins, and those kind of guys.
Yeah, I'm just go. I know it's hard. I know it's hard to watch a Philly game, but go watch the Eagles play next year, or go look at tape of DeVonta Smith, and he's just tearing it up. He's getting open every play, and he wasn't. I don't think he's a superb route runner or anything, but with a good quarterback, this guy, he's capable of 1,200, 13-yard or 1,300-yard consistent seasons.
Yeah, I love DeVonta Smith. I think the talent will win out. Did you want to say something, Kody, before we move on?
I was just not really. I didn't have anything on top. I did actually. If Treylon Burks went there, like I mean, honestly, what I think Philly's really missing is other talented receivers that can get open. And like I mean, Reagor proved 2 years in a row and under different quarterbacks that like I think they might have busted there. And Watkins had Watkins had like a decent preseason, but then only had like one or couple plays in a few games throughout the year, you know. So I mean, like other than Goddard and Smith, like no one's getting open.
Yeah. Yeah, I think getting another so you don't think Jalen Hurts is a problem over in Philly?
No, I don't. And it's not just because I own them either, but it's partially because I own them. But no, I think I don't think I think this year. Well, I don't think it's even fair to judge him for the upcoming year because he only has had 1 year as a starter. Where like I think we want to. I think we'd like to. I'd like to see him 3 years as a starter. I think a 3 year line is a really good developing year for quarterbacks. I feel like you get rookies come out, no one really knows how they play, and they do well, and a sophomore slump usually happens or something like that. So I could see Jalen taking maybe a dip or some having other struggles, but then the third year is where they should really blossom and take over the offense.
Yeah, I
Right.
think I think year 1 to 3, I like looking at quarterbacks to see how they progress. I have huge expectations for Trevor Lawrence. I have really big expectations for Jalen Hurts. Um, so yeah, I'm hoping he does a lot more with his DeVonta Smith receiver.
Nick, is there anybody you wanted to talk about specifically? Any players you had in mind?
From the Eagles,
Just in general.
I'll just stick with the Eagles for a second. As far as like deep sleepers or players that nobody is talking about, um, do you guys like Tyree Jackson at all? Are you guys familiar with his deep sleeper status or
Um,
Quez
I think
Watkins?
I think he's worth the flyer, Tyree Jackson. I think he's worth the flyer in tight end premium leagues or two tight end leagues. I've seen a couple of those.
Mhm.
I think he's definitely worth a deep stash.
How about you, Cody? Any thoughts or no? And then what about? So is Jalen Reagor just either a drop? Is he like just N'Keal Harry status at this point? Like you don't really hold him, you don't buy him, you don't do anything with him. He's gone.
Not yet. I would wait till after the draft and after free agency, see who the Eagles add, because I think he's getting bumped down the depth chart. But in the off chance that he doesn't or they don't add anybody, I think he's rosterable. I don't think he's startable in any formats. Maybe in 2014 league or something where they don't have duplicates.
Yeah.
But I'm putting zero stock into Rager myself. The guy busted. I mean, there's no nice way to say it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if I own them, I'm not giving them up for like nothing. I mean,
I'll trade him for
he
a first.
obviously. Yeah. Well, I would take a fourth for him too. I'd probably.
Are we?
I
Can
mean,
we?
yeah, yeah.
No, go ahead. Finish what you were saying, Cody. I didn't mean to cut
No,
you
I was
off.
like, I'll trade him for a fourth. No questions asked.
Yeah.
What are we? What are we? Can we touch really quick on the Philadelphia running backs? Miles Sanders, Boston Scott, Jordan Howard, Kenny Gainwell. Are we interested in any of these guys? Do we like them if you have them? Don't like them if you don't, type of thing, or like what's the situation here?
Traded all my Miles Sanders shares away. Um, I don't believe in the guy. He gets hyped up every offseason and then never performs.
Sanders?
Uh, he had a good year this year. He didn't have any touchdowns. Boston Scott had more touchdowns. I think Jordan Howard had more touchdowns. Like for some reason, they don't want to give this guy the ball in the red zone, or on the goal line. And maybe I'm just fed up. He could have a breakout year because he did get touches and uh, he did decently with his touches, but without the red zone production, what, low in flex.
So if you have Miles Sanders, you're selling him. If you have Boston Scott, are you trying to sell him and package him for stuff, or are you
I
hanging
mean,
on to a
are you
Boston
really
Scott?
selling? I mean, at this point, when did you sell him, Reese? Because I'm curious. Like, at this point, is he even worth to be sold? Because I mean, I mean, he had some decent games with no touchdowns. I mean, to be able to finish
Would you
top
swap, like,
45 with no touchdowns, I guess is pretty good.
Cody, would you swap Miles Sanders for Clyde Edwards-Helaire straight up? If somebody was offering CEH for Sanders, would you do that switch, or would you just hang on to your Sanders shares?
I know what I would do.
I would probably go with. I mean, I don't. I'd probably take CEH over Sanders just because like he's a year younger. He's in a better offense.
I think he's a couple years
They've at
younger,
least,
right?
yeah, like at least a year, maybe a year and some.
Mm-hmm.
But they've at least proven to like use him, like where when he's healthy or like they'll rest him more or whatever because they have a better team. But like even when Sanders is healthy, they seem to not like always want to use him. Towards the end of the season they did, but early on, I mean, it was bad there for a while.
Yeah.
So this is my Miles Sanders trade a while back with Nick.
What league is this? Oh, I think he froze out, Reez. Can you still hear Reez, Cody?
No, I can't.
All right,
But
we'll carry for a minute.
wait till he just pops back in. We can move into talk about. There he is.
There he is. I can't hear him though. Can you?
No.
Can't hear you,
But
Reez.
yeah, I also like Gainwell as well. I think Gainwell. I don't have. I mean, what Sanders is. Would you rather have Sanders or Stevenson?
I would like to plead the fifth.
Oh no! Why? I would just
I don't know, man. I would. Oh, I'm hearing a lot of my own feedback in Reese's mic.
Am I back?
Oh, you're back. You're back.
Oh, there we go.
I think
so Sanders or Stevenson.
Sanders or Ramondre Stevenson. Do we value Ramondre the same as Damian Harris, or do you think Ramondre is more valuable than Damian Harris? Just
Now you got that one too.
we don't have to add that in. I'm just curious.
What's so funny is like the rankings that I'm looking at right now have Sanders at 35, Stevenson at 36, Gainwell at Gainwell at 37, and then Damian Harris at 38.
Oh man, alive!
So every other.
You gotta put Harris above Stevenson at least until Stevenson takes over the backfield.
In full PPR though, if he's not getting any passing work,
Harris does not catch it all at all. Like
no,
I mean,
and he had a ton of touchdowns that he probably isn't going to get again.
18.
That's not going to happen again.
Belichick's unpredictable with his running backs, and last year he just seemed to favor Harris.
Yeah, if I had to pick between Ramondre and Miles Sanders, I would go Ramondre. But I do believe that Miles Sanders, given the opportunity, is better than all these bums. I think he's great and he's explosive, and when he gets his opportunity, even the fans in Philly love him. They just don't give him the rock like a workhorse, or even enough to be productive anymore in fantasy, or very productive in fantasy.
I mean, the game Stevenson ran in that Harris missed. He had 2 20-point games, and then a 12-point game, and then like a 10-point game, or a 9-point game. I think it's actually 8-point game. But still, I mean, 3 solid games. I don't know. I like the future. I mean, like I think this will be Harris's last year in New England. Maybe they give him the 50-year option. Wasn't he a first-round pick like 3 years ago? Wasn't he like their third?
I think he was like a first round pick.
Yeah, like last pick of the first round. Like
yeah.
And I think he's great, but he can't catch, or at least they don't think he can catch. And so with that, and like the way the future of the backfield and like the touchdown regression coming, I would rather have Stevenson.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
And Gainwell, as of right now, I'd probably rather have Gainwell over Sanders. I mean, he catches too. PPR. I mean, I would have either one of them.
Gainwell over Miles Sanders?
No. I would be okay. Like the price of Sanders for the price of Gainwell. Like, give me Gainwell.
Yeah, you're right. But I think anyone with Gainwell likes him because of how he produced aside Miles Sanders. So I don't know that his price is actually that low.
Maybe,
If he was
maybe
priced
you're
like a
right.
Larry
Maybe.
Roundtree, obviously you still want Kenny Gainwell, but I think people are savvy to the fact that they might lean on him more in the coming year than they.
So okay, so like if Gainwell or Kareem Hunt,
Hunt.
Yeah, I'll take Kareem Hunt.
Gainwell or Khalil Herbert.
Oof, that's
Kenny
tough, man.
Gainwell.
Okay,
I
and
think I would also go Gainwell.
Gainwell and Hubbard.
Kenny
Hubbard.
Gainwell. What?
Give me
Ah,
Hubbard.
Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah.
Or
Chuba
do we
freaking
think
Hubbard.
McCaffrey's not playing for the Panthers this year?
right.
I mean, he'll have a jersey. I don't know if he'll
Hubbard
play.
ain't playing. Hubbard ain't doing
He
nothing.
might
If
be in the medical tent.
no,
Okay,
I'd
okay.
Gainwell.
Gainwell or Keyshawn Vaughn.
Gainwell.
Give me Vaughn.
What?
I think Vaughn has
What?
a better path to playing time.
Okay, here's Gainwell or James Robinson.
Oh, Robinson.
Gainwell.
You're gonna have to wait a year, but Robinson's a monster,
I want
dude.
Gainwell.
Yep.
I'm not big
What?
big on Robinson. The trajectory of like undrafted running backs who like get ran into the ground coming and then face an injury don't really have a like they don't really have a good recovery timeline. You see this like where they like because he's a free agent next year too because he was undrafted, so he's not a full 4 years either. So like Jacksonville's not going to pay him when they have ETN in his second or third year. You know what I mean?
Well,
So
he's
I
not
just don't
gonna
see.
demand a big paycheck, but the guy
No, but
can outrun the ball. He's behind
well,
that terrible Jacksonville offense. He was the only standout.
actually, let's actually if we go back and you can say the offensive line wasn't actually Jackson. Was it? Were we watching something the other day, Nick, where they said Trevor Lawrence had? You showed me that video where Trevor Lawrence had like the 7th most time in the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
It was something like that where he was protected very well, and like so like there's like whatever was happening down there was more like on the coaches than like maybe even like personnel on that offensive line. I mean, I'm not saying they were a top unit. I'm just saying that they protected and Robinson ran well. So I mean, like they blocked well. They were able to run the ball well. Lawrence had time, but they didn't capitalize on scoring, obviously. But yeah, I don't want to say I'm out on James Robinson, but I mean, I definitely want ETN. I mean, and especially the trajectory of like Akers in that playoff run, like James Robinson, another year removed. That means he's going to be, this season he'll be 24, and then he's missing this whole season, so we don't get him till he's 25, and he's a free agent. I don't know, coming off an Achilles. I mean, I look at my cat doesn't. I look. You know who that reminds me of? This reminds me of like Foreman, but Foreman not getting the opportunity in Houston before. Like he looked really good for a game or two, and then boom, went down with that Achilles, and like never was really fully able to recover until like now, and he was like a Derrick Henry replacement. So that's just what I see for James Robinson. I just don't see him being like I just don't ever see him being like a top 25 back again. Like I just don't.
And you see Gainwell being the top 25 back?
Yeah, well, here's the difference. I think Gainwell can deliver you games like in a PPR league that are startable, especially in a deep superflex league like we are, where you're starting 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, and then 2 flex, and then a superflex. You know what I mean? I think Gainwell can give you a 12 to 13, 15 point game on occasion, and I just don't see James.
I'm not starting a lot of these running backs we're talking about. I'm not starting in anything more than a flex flex role. But Kenny Gainwell actually plays like when he's healthy. He's like Boston Scott when Boston Scott's actually playing. So I like Kenny Gainwell.
Maybe I'm just salty.
Hey, wait, this is well, like Sanders owners are a little salty. But I mean, this is his course, like, and this is at a 30% snap share. This is like no more did Gainwell see more than like 35% on the field, and he was at 12 points, 7 points, 6 points, 20 points, 4 points, 1 point, 13 points. That's through the first 8 weeks of the season.
But I think a lot of that was on touchdown, right? Like every game that he had those big numbers, he like had a touchdown to go with it, right? Like the 18-point game, 19-point game,
Yeah,
20-point
definitely. Well,
game,
yeah,
12-point
definitely.
game. Like he had one game where he got 13 points and he had no touchdown. Oh, he did have a touchdown.
For
Through
sure,
the air.
he definitely had 5. He had 5 rushing touchdowns and he had 1 receiving touchdown.
Which is what
he
was
also
so.
averaged.
Which is what was so annoying with the Miles Sanders owners is because Sanders would get him down the field before they hit the 50-yard line, and then in the red zone they would use Kenny Gainwell to like finish off drives, and it was to the chagrin of every Sanders owner.
But they obviously love Gainwell in the passing game. Like there's no doubt, and I just don't see. I mean, do you see Gainwell playing? I don't
value Gainwell over Sanders though. I don't know if anyone said that yet.
I don't. No, we don't. But I don't think it's like. I think they're more of a 1A, 1B. I think that's what they'll be, more of a 1A, 1B. And I don't think that it will ever be like a 1 and a 2. Like I don't think Sanders is that much further ahead of him.
Would you rather have Kenny Gainwell or who's the backup for Cam Akers?
Oh, Henderson.
Yeah, would you rather have Darrell Henderson or Kenneth Gainwell?
Henderson. I think Henderson's one of the most high quality backups in the league.
You're taking Gainwell, Cody?
Yeah, I don't know. Henderson has. I mean, I don't know. That's a coin flip too. I think they're both kind of the same guy. I think Henderson has a bit more. Henderson just has a bit more experience.
Okay. Gainwell or second?
Probably
206. 206.
Probably Gainwell. No, I'll take the 206. I'll take the 206. But yeah. I mean,
that's right around the value. Depending on the team that I have, I could go with either of those guys. But I think it's exactly where the value is if you're trying to trade for him with a pick.
But and like back on the Edwards-Helaire thing, I think him and Sanders are pretty. I mean, Sanders is 2 years older than him. 2 years exactly, not 1, 2. So I would definitely take Edwards-Helaire.
Okay. Nick, how much time do we got?
We're right out that. I mean,
we're running out of time.
Yeah, we can wrap it up if you guys want.
Are we over an hour?
Not yet. We're at 57 minutes.
Why don't we try to look into a? We could try to look into a trade real quick in one of the leagues.
Okay.
But I don't know unless you guys don't want to do that.
Yeah, no, we can dissect the trade real quick.
But we can just look at some. We can either look at some trades, or we can look at some teams. Or
I'm going to look at a trade that doesn't involve either of us.
Any of us.
What do you think about that most recent trade between Jacob and Joey Salads over in on paper?
What was the trade again? Can you say it?
It pains me to say it, honestly. Brandon Cooks, Elijah Moore, and a 22-second for A.J. Brown, Scotty Miller, and a third.
What side do you like better?
Give me the stud, man. Give me A.J. Brown. I know the hype is big on Elijah Moore. I know a lot of people love Elijah Moore. I like Elijah Moore. I don't love him. But, you get 2 startable receivers there, so I can understand the move. But I think you can get so much more for A.J. Brown.
I wish I could see.
Where are the trades at?
I know. Are you looking on the computer?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, they're. I think you got to go to league and then scroll all the way down, and then you can maybe click on transactions. But no, you can't. I don't see it.
Wow.
Can I live?
Recent activity.
Let me share this.
I found it. Go to recent activity. Okay, I found it.
In recent activity? What? League?
Yeah, no way. I for sure see I want the Elijah Moore, Brandon Cooks in the second side.
You want the Elijah side?
Yeah, I for sure want the Elijah side.
Wow.
I mean, and this is the way I'm looking at it, is that I would rather have the second than the third, obviously, and then I would rather Miller is like nothing to me. He is literally like
Yeah, that's roster.
Almost
he might
non-existent.
even he almost makes it feel like a negative point. But then I love Elijah's upside just based on that alone. But even if he doesn't perform for like another year or two, I think Cooks gives you wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 numbers in like so. Even if you're taking the risk on Elijah Moore, which is a huge, which is like it's a risk, but it's a huge payoff. But I also think Brandon Cooks is even in Houston with bad quarterback play, with bad team play, with everything going on down there, he still eats. And Brandon Cooks, I feel like gets a lot of hate everywhere he goes. He's like I feel like he broke a record, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but he broke a record for having like so many 1,000-yard seasons for different teams or something. Because he's got like 1,000.
Yeah.
He's got a 1,000-yard season for like 6 or 7 different teams now. I mean, maybe not that many. Maybe it's 5, but it's New Orleans, Rams, Patriots,
Yep.
Houston.
Yep.
Is that it? Is that it?
That's it.
Okay, but he's had 1,000-yard season every year except the 1 year in
And
LA.
I think he got hurt that year.
Yeah, he had a lot of concussions that year. He was getting banged up. I mean, did you like Cooks as when he was a Ram?
I mean, he was a solid option, but you know,
He also was playing with Goff.
Yeah, I love Jared Goff. I'm really not shy about that fact.
Whoa, we should have started with that with the some of this combo. That's a hotter take. I'll take.
My only
Yeah,
hold on one second. My only problem with this trade is you're buying Cooks and you're buying Moore at their high, and you're selling AJ Brown at his low.
That's true.
And that's the only thing I can't get behind.
Maybe I'm just not a huge. I mean, I'm gonna say it, but I just not that I dislike AJ Brown, I just don't like his. I don't know. I just don't think I don't want to say he's overhyped. I just think because he is heck good, and he is a top. He's a wide receiver 1, obviously, but.
Do we know where he finished this last year? I know he had injury.
32nd, but he only missed four. He missed 4 games. I mean, one thing I don't like about AJ Brown is he does not get a lot of receptions. I mean, he just in a PPR league, he's never had more than 70 catches, and I feel like that's for being an elite receiver in a PPR league, like. You could argue that he did have a large amount of touchdowns, but you could argue that somebody like, and I'm not going to say Renfro is a better player than AJ Brown, but you could argue that in a PPR league, someone that gets that amount of volume is just as valuable at such a way cheaper price because he just doesn't get that amount of volume. He's a big chunk guy. He gets big plays. He's down the field a lot, and he's a great receiver, but he just doesn't eat like other receivers do. Like Cooper Kupp had how many catches? Like, I know it was a ridiculous amount, but it was like 160 or something. He had 100. I almost want to pull it up because I know Kupp
I am going to pull it up.
What's the question right now?
He had 145 catches. So 145 minus 63, that's like what, 70 some, 70 some. So he had almost 75 more catches than AJ Brown, and I know he missed he did miss 4 games, so that's fair. But I mean, you add 4 games to that, he maybe has like 85 catches or something, right? I mean, maybe. So I don't know. I don't know. And he's also got 2 bad knees. I just don't like his injury history. Like he's got. I mean, even over here, I'm looking at.
If I could,
and I think
interject when you guys say give my take on
this one.
Yeah, you
go ahead.
I take the AJ Brown side. It's Brandon Cooks, Elijah Moore, and a late second at the 211, which is a very late second. So Brandon Cooks and Elijah Moore, late second for AJ Brown, and then I agree with Kody. Scott Miller means nothing to me. that third is worse than a late second, so that third doesn't mean much either. But I think in both the receivers, Cooks and Elijah Moore, well, Elijah Moore you're hoping becomes an A.J. Brown. I think that's the high side that he could be an A.J. Brown, and then Cooks is on the older side and will never be an A.J. Brown. He's going to be like a good wide receiver 2 or 3 for maybe another year or two. So if you just look at in full PPR A.J. Brown's games where he's active, we're looking at like 14 points, 7 points, 6 points, 16, 27, 31, 9, 3, 9, 31, 6, 16. So he's got like these really nice spike weeks. Most of these don't come on more than 11 targets or less, which is a lot. But I don't think the Titans have many other options. I actually hope that they draft a receiver to take some of the pressure off of A.J. Brown. But I think he's their guy and will be for a long time, and he's the guy to have as like one of these top receivers. Now, to Elijah Moore's credit, his numbers aren't very different. Like his big games are like 28 points, like maybe 2 points off of A.J. Brown. So Elijah Moore had a really good year. I would just want to see it one more year from Elijah Moore before I sell my A.J. Brown shares to get Elijah Moore shares.
So my thing on that's a good take, by the way. My thing on AJ Brown is he plays in Tennessee, right? And they ran the ball a lot. They ran the hell out of the ball. That's what they do. But Derrick Henry's getting old. He's just coming off an injury, and so I think it's going to put more pressure on Ryan Tannehill to throw the ball and take the pressure off Derrick Henry. So because of that, I'm still holding AJ Brown in high regard.
And I just want to, talking about this trade, since we are judging the trade, while you two were talking, I went into both teams and looked to see what side of the trade really helps each side. And if you really break down, now it kind of supports my argument too, why I like the Elijah and Brandon side more, is that, Jacob Swag was able to gain 2 startable players and have a deeper bench, where now Joey Slay is his next best receiver after A.J. Brown is Jamison Crowder, Sammy Watkins.
Ooh.
So he's got to start now that he made that trade. Right. So now that he's made that trade, I mean, he does have the 102, the 108. So we can sit there and say he's got 2 picks, but he's going to be starting A.J. Brown, Devin Singletary, Van Jefferson, and when he had Brandon Cooks, when your team is a bit thinner like that and you trade for the star like that, if your team can't handle it, then I also think it can backfire and hurt your team more than what you even expected, because now you have 2 guys that you have 1 instead of 2, and right. Not that I don't think either. I don't think.
You're saying this was good for Joey Salad's team? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying it was.
No, he's got Pittman and Jefferson still.
Yeah,
Van Jefferson? Come on.
Yeah, man.
Hold on.
He's startable. Flex.
Yeah, he's startable, sure, but you put AJ Brown in that receiver spot next to Pittman. There's still an empty receiver spot, plus then Van Jefferson, Singletary.
Yeah.
Who's that other receiver? Like AJ Brown, he's got Peoples-Jones, he's got Reagor, he's got James Washington, he's got Treadwell, he's got Crowder, he's got Sammy Washington.
He ain't got much. He's got a lot of fodder.
Hubbard. Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. So when you make a trade like that, and he's got the 102 and 108, so he will be able to get Garrett Wilson,
a couple receivers,
or Treylon Burks. Maybe he might not get Treylon Burks in the 101.
I think Garrett Wilson is very attainable for him with this, or he could take best player available and sell him for some other pieces. I just don't in these big starting leagues. You have to have a lot of quality talent, and I think maybe Brandon Cooks and Elijah Moore might have been better with the depth that he has than consolidating to one A.J. Brown. I think you're right.
Yeah, I think I would have waited until after the draft and see what fell to him before I made a trade like that. I think you kind of box yourself into a Treylon Burks, Garrett Wilson, rather than we'll see how
the best available.
Yeah, good point.
And and then Jacob Swag was able to do that because he's got Ridley sitting on his IR. So now he's got.
When do you guys think Ridley's coming back? Or is that a conversation for another pod?
But
we'll bring that one up next week.
Right.
Okay.
But that's why I wanted to focus like on the trades, because then we can sit here and break down the teams and make it more authentic, right? And give the list. I mean, if the person's trade that we are breaking down is listening, then hopefully they can get something out of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to?
This leaves Jacob with DK, Elijah Moore, Brandon Cooks, Tyler Lockett, Calvin Ridley, and yeah, man, Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, Zeke, Josh Allen, Derek Carr. He just kind of missing a tight end, but he has Dawson Knox. I think you can kind of deal with that. So I think Jacob actually has a real shot to win the championship this year. His team is built to win now, and
Jacob's team is nasty.
yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's definitely great, and the trade was. I think it was good, and I think it can. If Joey makes the right picks, I'll just close on this. If Joey makes the right picks, I think it can work in his favor as well. And so I think it comes down to that. He's got the 102, the 108, and I think he had some deep picks. So if he makes the right picks, I think it can work, and he gets the stud that he wants. By giving up two pieces that aren't studs. I mean, Elijah could be a stud, but neither of them are producing at Brown's level right now. And I think that's clear. And Brown can give you a 35-point game too, which neither of those two have shown they can do. And I think that also separates AJ Brown from those guys. But with setting the teams in mind, I think that it's a better trade for Jacob Swag.
Agreed.
Before we get out of here, I think that's all the time we got for today. I'd like to end with just a little hot take, random hot take. Anything you want to do, anything you want to talk about. I'll start off first.
I'm unprepared.
I know we talked about it earlier. Pittsburgh trades up. They take Malik Willis. Malik Willis ends up as the 101 in Superflex startups or Superflex rookie drafts. Yeah, you can hold me to that. I'm fairly positive that's what's going to happen.
I like that take.
Anything? You guys got anything?
I think Rodgers stays in Green Bay. I just think there's too much there to for him to like. If he really wants to win, him leaving is not
hot
the right
stinky take.
Yeah, I mean maybe we don't want it, but I think he stays. I think what's her name just broke up with him too. So.
Nice, good.
Yeah, right.
I think Rondell Moore finishes top 40 wide receivers, full PPR.
Top 40.
Yep.
Okay.
You heard it here first.
There's a lot of things that need to play out.
I don't have any reason to think this more than anyone else would.
All right, it's been fun. Once again, I'm Reez. You can follow me on Twitter. This is the first episode. We'll hopefully be trying to get, at least one of these in a week. Schedule permits, of course. Yeah, it's been great having you guys. Thanks for coming along. Thanks for making the time.
Yeah, thank you guys. You can follow me at Goku's Pre-Workout, and then Kody. Find him on the Sleeper app. DM him on the Sleeper app.
I'll get it. I'll do that. I'll do that this week.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks.